Welcome to the Ride the Pig Show, where we teach business owners, entrepreneurs, and their families to create passive income generation. That's what PIG stands for, P-I-G, passive income generation. Passive income can be relationship income, it can be money income, it can be whatever you need, but it's anything incoming to you. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about that happened to me. I recently went to Dubai, and I'm going to talk about that and the power of no. So this whole podcast is going to be on the power of no and what no is actually an opportunity. So it all started when I did my PPFs, personal, professional, and financial goals. We do that at our company here at Extreme Marketing. And what that does is sets you in a direction to align with your goals in life, what you want to get done, get successes, and it aligns you with your company. So personal goals, financial goals, and professional, personal, financial, professional, PPF, PPF. So on PPFs, I had a goal to go to Dubai. I have a good friend. Her name's Miriam, and her dad works in the government in Dubai. And Miriam is part of the 10X movement. And so I put on there to go to Dubai and work with Miriam at some point. And I had something else on there that I'm going to wait to the end of this to let you know about that. So we get this all set up. I'm going to go to Dubai, and it's a year in advance. Get everything ready, tickets to go, ready to go. Comes up, it's coming up, and I'm getting ready. And I've got one day before I've got to depart. So I've got everything organized. I've got my passports. I've got everything. I've done what I need to do. And this is going to be a nice, easy trip, nice, easy, successful event for me. And I'm looking really forward to it. So the day prior, I go spend a night with my boys. They're in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm spending a night with them. And I decide, well, I'll go ahead and do an early check-in. I'm flying on United. Do an early check-in. So with that early check-in, you can put your passport in, so it makes it nice and easy. Do it online now. And as I'm doing that, I run into a slight challenge. It's not taking my passport for some reason, and it's saying to check in at the front desk. So I'm like, okay, well, it's just not uploading correctly, and we didn't know if it's the bandwidth. So I've got my son Trenton with me at this point, and we've got a laptop, and we're trying to take pictures of this passport just right, make it right. We think the light's reflecting off. It's not letting it go because the new passports, I don't know if you've seen them, but they got a hard covering on them, which has a very reflective piece to it. So it doesn't seem like it's getting a really good picture of it. So we stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning the night prior to me leaving, trying to get this done. And it won't go. So finally I'm like, well, Trenton, I'll just go ahead and check in front desk like it says to do. So the next day I get up, got to be to the airport early. So I'm hitting it, and I'm hitting traffic and everything, and I'm starving because I didn't grab anything to eat before I left. So I'm looking around in my car, and I say, okay, I know there's something in here. My wife always has some kind of crackers or something in the cars and stuff like that. So I reach down in, and I grab out a cracker. I'm driving, open it up, put it in my mouth, and it's black molded all over the thing. It's one complete thing of mold, almost all eaten up. But I've got this now in my mouth, and I'm got this thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't swallow. I've got this dried cracker and mold in my mouth. I'm like, I've got to pull over somewhere. So it took about 2 miles before I could actually pull over. I'm trying not to swallow. Finally, I find a place. There's this house there. I pull over, and I'm spitting it out on the ground. I get some water, wash my mouth out, and there's a lady on the front porch, and I know she's wondering what in the world is going on with this guy. Probably thought I had a rough evening or something. So spitting all that out, and then I'm like, gee whiz, I hope I don't get like botulism or something like this. I was like, I'll be good. I spit it out as much as I could. So I head to the airport, and I go ahead and get to my flight, and the passport I'm going to check in when I get to my next destination. So I get on my flight, and we take off, and I look down, and it is just beautiful. and I get this most calming effect over me I've maybe ever had. And I'm just looking out the window. It's blue skies, beautiful. I'm like, this is going to be just a great trip. And I'm sitting there, I'm totally relaxed. Get to Newark, New Jersey is where I was going to embark the next place. And then there was a straight shot all the way to Dubai, like a 12, 14-hour trip, straight shot. So get there, and I'm like, well, I better go check in with all this. So I go check in at the United Lounge. You can do that if you got special credentials. You can actually do all your check-in right there. They help you. It's like concierge there. So I go up there, and right off the bat, I can't get into the United Lounge. It won't let me go in. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Flight won't let me go in with ticket. They have these automatic ticket things. So I asked lady there helping out. I said, what's going on? She goes, looks at it. She goes, I don't know. There's a couple kiosks there, a couple ladies there. Maybe they can help you. So I go over there. There's two of them. Go over there, the one on the right. And I said, hey, ma'am, I need some help. I need to check in here. So she looks down, takes my passport, goes to check me in. She goes, you going to Dubai? I said, yeah. She goes, you're not going to Dubai. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going to Dubai? I said, I'm going to Dubai. She goes, nope, you're not going to Dubai. I'm like, well, why? She goes, this passport. I'm like, what? What about it? She goes, it won't let me do anything with it. Won't let me check you in. I'm like, well, keep trying. There's got to be something we can do. She goes, nope, you're not going to Dubai. I said, no, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Dubai. She goes, nope, not going to Dubai. I said, well, okay, well, so I looked over the lady to the left and I said, okay, well, hey, can you help me? So she goes, okay, let me look at it. So she looks at it, goes around. She goes, you're not going to Dubai. I'm like, I am going to Dubai. I'm telling you, I'm going to Dubai. She goes, nope, you're not going to Dubai. I said, well, what's going on? She goes, well, your passport is within the window that you can't go. To go to Dubai, it's 6 months. If it's going to expire within 6 months, you can't go. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. 6 months? What's the deal with that? She goes, and yours is inside that 6 months. She goes, in the U.S., it's 3 months coming in, but Dubai, it's 6 months. I'm like, oh, God. I said, there has to be a way to solve this. She says, no, there's no way to solve this. I said, I know there's a way to solve this. Said, nope. I said, well, is there somewhere else, some information desk, something like that, I can get some help? They're like, well, just go down past the escalators to the right there. There's a place. So they wave me on. So I leave that. I go down the escalators. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking, you know what? How can I help this next person help me be successful? And I'm like, what can I do? So I'm walking up and I see this beautiful lady over there. And she goes, and I know that's the lady I'm going to be speaking to. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? I said, I know you can help me. I know you can help me get this done. I've got a challenge I need some help with. I know you're just the right person that I need to get this done. So I walk over to her kiosk and she goes, well, shoot, I'd love to help you. Let me see what I can do. And she looks at my stuff. She goes, you're not going to Dubai. I'm like, I'm going to Dubai. She goes, no, there's no. I said, well, I tell you what, there has to be something. Let's think outside the box here. You know, there's got to be a way. And she goes, well, I said, I tell you what, my friend Miriam, you know, her dad's in some type of the government there in Dubai. How about I, you know, call Miriam and I get some help and maybe the government can help me. And she goes, nope, can't do that. That won't work. This is a Dubai deal with the 6 months. I won't be able to do that. I'm like, okay, what's some other options here? And she goes, well, I'll tell you what, you know, a year ago, I actually was able to go downtown Manhattan and they take walk-ins. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, I walked in, but you got to be there first. It's just a certain amount of walk-ins they'll take and you can get your passport. I'm like, fantastic. What do I need to do? She goes, well, we're going to need to call. I said, well, let's call and see what we can do. So I call Manhattan. And they're like, you can't do it through us. You got to go through the U.S. passport agency to get this set up. And I said, okay. So I get that number. I go away from the kiosk over there in a little corner. I'm like, I'm not going very far away because I'm coming right back to make sure this happens. So I said, stand by. I'll be right back. So I call the U.S. passport agency up, and a lady's there. And I said, I need to get a passport. And she goes, okay, we'll see what we can do. And I said, I've got to have it today. She goes, you're not going to Dubai. I'm like, I am going to Dubai. She goes, no way you're going to Dubai. You got to have a passport today. That there's no way that can happen. I'm like, there has to be something we can do. She goes, well, let me look at Manhattan. And she looks, she goes, okay, well, here's the deal. First off, we don't do walk-ins anymore. So that you have to make an appointment. She goes, it's 2 weeks out for an appointment. I'm like, well, let's call Manhattan, see if maybe there's an opening or something. So she actually calls, and there's no openings. 2 weeks, wouldn't bend on that. I'm like, there's got to be a way. I said, let's think. She goes, I said, how about somewhere else? It doesn't have to be Manhattan. There's got to be another place in the United States, right? I'm in an airport. I can fly wherever I need to go if I need to. So she goes, well, let me look. So she starts looking, and she finds one place, and it's in Connecticut, and that's like 300-400 miles from where I'm at. And she goes, okay, so that's one place. I said, okay, well, I'll go make a flight. She goes, no, you better make that appointment right now. She goes, there's only one appointment available, and it's like 7 a.m. She goes, make it, and then if you can't make it, we'll just have to reschedule. I said, go ahead, make that appointment. So we made the appointment for 7 a.m. So now I go back over to our lady with the United. I'm like, okay, here's what we got. And she goes, okay, now what are our options? I said, I could take a rental car. I could get a rental car and go. And it's like 400 miles. And it's like, that's by the time I do that, I wouldn't be back this day. So immediately we decided, let's go ahead and make another flight for the next day at the same time. My flight was leaving at like 9:30, something like that at night. And right now it's about 6 or 7 o'clock, something like that. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go ahead and make that other flight. And it was kind of odd because great lady, but she goes, here, let me do it on my cell phone. And I'm like, on your cell phone instead of in the company kiosk? She goes, yeah, let's do it. Well, this is the best way to do it right there on my cell phone. I was like, oh boy, okay. So we make it on her cell phone. I give her my information on the card. I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't bite me in the butt later. So make that flight, or yeah. So we make a flight, and getting up to that flight, we couldn't find any flights anywhere close. So we finally find one in Boston, which is about 60 miles away from where I needed to be. So we find that flight. We go ahead and make that flight. And she says, here's the deal. You got to be prepared for that passport. If you don't have your passport picture, you don't have all the paperwork exactly right, you're not going to get your passport. So I'm like, okay, noted. I'll make sure everything's right. So I have to run to the airport or to the next terminal to get onto this flight that's going to Boston. I run over there, get on the flight, head on over there, and I get in about 8 o'clock. Okay. 8 o'clock. So I get there and I land. And all this time, I'm updating everybody. I'm updating everybody in Dubai. I'm updating my family, and I'm getting no's all over the place. So I've got family members saying, well, maybe it's not the right thing to do. Maybe you shouldn't do it. Uh, it's not in the cards to do it if you're having all this problem. I'm like, I'm going to Dubai. And so I'm hearing all that stuff. Everybody wants to protect you in life. So they start helping you make excuses on why maybe you shouldn't be doing this. But I didn't need help with making excuses. I needed help getting to Dubai. So I kept to my guns. I'm saying, I am going. And all this was during the Israeli-Palestinian conflict had just started. So, everybody's like, oh boy, there's turmoil in the Middle East. Maybe you shouldn't go. It's unsafe. I'm like, it's perfectly safe. It's 2,000 miles from that. And, Dubai is one of the top 3 safest cities in the world. I'm like, it'll be fine, but I still checked. But once people started putting that negativity in my head, I was like, whoa, boy, I better double check all this stuff. So I did check the flights to see, they had different flight paths that they take. And one went over Africa, over to Dubai, and then one went right over Israel and Palestinians right there and Hamas. So I was like, okay, well, it looks like the one out, I'll be on that one. I won't be flying right over the fighting or anything like that. So that gave me a little bit, okay, should be good to go. So get there, land, and now I've got to get a passport picture. And it is 8 o'clock at night. So I'm like, okay, I got to find a place to do that. So I start calling around for passport places, and I find a CVS that's not too far from me, located on the water near Boston. I'm like, okay, I'll call that one. I call up, hello, how you doing? And the lady's like, oh, we're great. And I said, I need to get a passport picture. She goes, we're closed. I'm like, you're closed. I said, here's the deal. I said, I'm going to Dubai. I need a passport, and I've been working through all these challenges and everything. And I went through my story with her, and she goes, you know what? I'm going to reopen so that you can get your passport picture. I'm going to reopen for you, but you got to be here by 9 o'clock. And now it's like 8:30. I'm like, holy smokes, I got to be there. I said, I'm going. So now I got to get a rental car. Well, do you think there's any rental cars available? No. So I'm getting all these no's, no rental cars available, nothing. So I call Nashville, and they've got several. I think it was Nashville, it might have been Enterprise, but they've got several underneath of them that they deal with, and they're going through their database and like, nope, nothing available. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way around this. So I'm like, okay, well, what are some of the rental car agencies that are underneath your umbrella that you have? And they told me one of them. I said, all right, well, I'm going to check in that locally here. So I call up, and they're like, we've got one car, and it's kind of beat up. I said, I don't care if it's beat up. It's fine. I'll take it. Whatever. I don't care if it's a bicycle. I'll take it. I'm going to get over there and get my passport picture. So I said, okay. So I run over there. I get to the rental car place, and I get in the car, and sure enough, it is beat up. The carpeting's like in, I don't even know how this was at a rental car company. That's why I'm not saying the name of the rental car company. But this one here, they're like holes in the carpet and everything. It had been beat up, but it was running. So I was like, whew, thank you, Lord. I'm taking it. So I get in the rental car, and I come around, and there's a thing to my left where the people stand with their computer and everything, and they're going to check you out. They're going to check your paperwork, and there's a gate. I pull up, hand over my paperwork. They start running it, and it's taken forever to run the paperwork. And then finally, it was a lady in there. She goes, I'm sorry, but our systems broke down. I'm like, systems broke down? She goes, yeah, you're not going to be able to get out of here. I'm like, I am getting out of here. So here's another no. I'm like, yeah, we're going to make this happen. I said, what are our options here? I said, do you have anybody here that can work on this? Do you have somebody that's familiar with this? She goes, yeah, Tommy. Yeah, he may know how to, I'll have him come look at it. He may know how to fix this. I said, okay, well, let's get Tommy. So she goes, gets Tommy. Felt like forever. I'm sitting there with that gate across there, and time's just tick, 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 ticking down. Got to be there by 9 o'clock, and it was 8:30, and now it's like a quarter till. So sitting there, Tommy comes over. He looks at it. He goes, oh, yeah, I've seen this before. And he starts digging around behind the computer, messing with the cables. Hits one. Boom. All good to go. Gets my paperwork to me. Thing goes up. I take off to the CVS. So I get to the CVS, and the lady helps me out. I get in there, get my picture taken, and this is a sign. So anyways, get my picture taken, and we're going to put this up. You can record this. So that was a no, but we're not going to listen to that no. So get my picture taken. This whole time, my phone, the bottom of it does not work. So you got to use magnetism to charge this thing. Well, the whole time I'm like down to 5% on my phone now. So all that time I'm having to turn off my computer, turn it back on, try and conserve it. Well, I'm down to 5% now, and I'm going to have to use this thing for GPS to get to my location in Connecticut. So I said, hey, ma'am, can I charge my phone here for a little bit before I leave, before I get kicked out? She goes, yeah, you can go ahead and charge it. I said, I just need like maybe get to 25% or something. So plug it, or I've got my magnetic charger in my bag. I pull that out, put it on there. And of course, the thing with magnetic chargers, they're really slow, at least the one I have. So I I've got there charging. I said, shoot, I'm starving. I normally eat really healthy, but there was a McDonald's there. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I better get something because I haven't eaten. So I go over there, order a quarter pounder and some French fries. And the lady says, it's going to be a little while. I said, no problem. I'm charging my phone. That's fine. So I turn around and she goes, it's done. I'm like this far over and it's already done. I'm like, what in the world? It's already done. So I come over here. I grab my French fries and my burger, go back to the car to sit in the car while the thing's charging. And I bite in this thing and it's like a brick. So now I realize how it got done so fast. I think it had been done for like 24 hours ready for me for this. So, but I was like, I'm eating this thing. So I eat my burger and all that. Now I go back, get my phone. It's got like 10% charge. So I'm like, oh boy, I got to get going. So grab it and I start going and I have to get a hotel now. So I find out where the passport agency is and I find a hotel that's like 6 miles from there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call them. I get in there. They've got a place. So I go there and now it is getting late. So it's probably like 12 o'clock at night or so. And so I get in, get all situated. I'm like, okay, whew, now I can relax. Wrong. I've got to do all the paperwork. I haven't done any of the paperwork or any of that stuff. I got to upload. Everything's done on electronic now, but you also have to print it out. So I get on there and I fill out the paperwork. So now it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Get it all up there. And of course, they told me it has to be printed out. I can't electronically send it. It's got to be printed. So I get it all done. So I call the front desk. I'm like, hey, I need to get this printed out. He goes, nah, you're not going to be able to. I'm like, why? He said a piece of the I can't remember what it was. A piece of the printer is broken or something. I'm like, there's got to be another way to do this. Oh, I know it was a copier. Couldn't do any copying where they normally printed, but they had another printer. I said, so what's the solution? What can we do? I said, well, we have another printer that's hooked up to our computer where if you email it to us, we can print. I said, oh, okay, I'm going to email this to you and we'll get it out. Mind you, I'm sending all my info, my social security, everything downstairs to go onto their computer, and I'm like, I'd already given all my information on a cell phone at United. Now I'm sending it to the hotel here. I'm like, oh boy. So I said, do me a favor. When we get done with this, if you could just delete all that stuff, would be nice for me. So that's not all over the internet. So I get down there, it's all printed. And I get back to my room, get a little bit of sleep, and I'm like, I am going to be the first person there to make sure this happens. So next morning, I'm up early. I run there. I am there super early, way before my appointment. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to walk in and see if maybe they're opening up early. So I walk in there. Sure enough, they're opening early. So I walk in there. I talk to the police officers where you have to go in, check everything, chatting with them. Walk in, and there's a guy sitting there. He says, hey, what can I help you with? I said, well, I'm here to get a passport. He goes, okay. I said, he goes, well, here's some paperwork you got to fill out here as well. I said, here's this paperwork. And he goes, okay. He goes, we'll get you set up an appointment. It's going to be 2 weeks. I'm like, 2 weeks? I said, I have to have this passport today. He goes, oh, you're not going to Dubai. I said, I'm going to Dubai. He goes, oh, I don't know about that. So we're chatting. I said, here's the situation. This is what I've been through. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to put you with Jim over here as soon as he's free, and you can sit down with him to fill out your passport information. So I go over there to the window and talk to Jim. I said, Jim, I need this like today. He goes, oh, okay. No problem. It'll be done by 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock today. I'm like, 5 o'clock? I said, I've got to have it like now. He goes, oh no, there's no way you're getting it now. I said, Jim, I've really got to have this now. I got a lot of people relying on me on Dubai, and this is what we've been through. And he goes, you know what? Give me one moment. And he brings the lady over there, the manager, and he goes, can we do a walkthrough on this? And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, we can do a walkthrough. We'll do a walkthrough for you. I said, oh, thank you. said, we'll have it done as soon as we can. And Jim goes, I will personally take your information, your old passport, all that, and I am going to walk it through the entire government building process to get this done for you. I said, whew, awesome. So he goes, it'll be about 3-4 hours. I said, well, that's going to be cutting me close, but that's why I came early. So I left, and I get back to the hotel, and no sooner I got back to the hotel, I get a call, and it's Jim, and he goes, your passport's done. They had done it in less than an hour. What everybody said could not be done. I had countless no's from all over the place, and we were making this happen in less than 24 hours. So less than a day, I was able to get my passport from not having a passport to getting a passport. So I get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I do for y'all for doing this? I said, how about I write you a letter or something like that? So they said, well, that'd be fantastic. I said, give me a pen, paper. So I wrote out, what had happened, how they had serviced me and all that. And Jim goes, we have never had anybody do that. We've never had anybody sit here and then write a letter, a recommendation saying thank you. And I said, we appreciate that so very much. I said, hey, trust me, that's no big deal. I really appreciate you guys. So they really took care of me. So now I'm leaving there. Now I got to get back to Boston. And then I got to get back to Newark, New Jersey to fly to Dubai. So mind you, this entire time, I'm updating my friends in Dubai, what's going on, everything. I'm updating family so everybody knows what's going on, and never did I think that I wasn't going to go to Dubai. Everybody told me no, 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 but I looked at one no leads to another door. So every no in your life is going to lead to another place. A no is not to stop, it means to redirect. So the power of no, the more no's you get in your life, probably the more successful you're going to be. It's just like sales. You've got to go through, you got to reach out to people 5 to 12 times before you're going to get a yes in sales. You got to go through the no's to get to the yeses. The no's are not bad. They are just a redirection. So the power of no is huge if you use them. So now I've got to get there. So I'm beating it to Boston. I get in there, and now everything starts clicking. I get in there, get my rental car done, get to the airport, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to see if I can get in there earlier because I got in earlier than what my flight out was going to be. So I say, okay, well, let's see if I can get on there. So I go to United and say, hey, I'd like to get on standby for an earlier flight. I'm like, I'm not sure if that can happen, but there's a lot of people ahead of you. Let's put you on the list. So put me on the list. Sure enough, I get called for an earlier flight. I get over to Newark, get in there, and I am like plenty of time now to get onto the flight. So now I can start relaxing what's going on and updating everybody again in Dubai, in the US, family, everybody else, and what's going on. And I still got, oh boy, not sure if you should go. It's dangerous over there. I said, hey, after all I've been through, I am going to Dubai. No questions. And throughout this whole process, I never lost faith one time at all. It was just another no. I just went to the next place and never lost faith that I was going to Dubai. So conviction matters, and it really matters in life. The person who's more convicted is going to actually be the person that gets what they want. So remember that. No's are okay. They're just going to redirect you, keep your conviction on what you're doing. So now I was on business class. So if you haven't flown business class, you need to try it sometime. So I get onto the United flight, and in business class, you're in these little pods, sleeping pods. And I'm going to put that back up. I'm in this little beautiful pod. And I have flown on flights. I'd flown earlier this year on a flight back from Vegas, which was a really cheap airline. Uncomfortable. You're squished in there. It's like, I don't want to do 14 hours squished in a seat. I did that coming back from Spain where I'd broken my back back in 2001 at a PGA Tour event. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. So I got this business class. So now everything is just beautiful. I've worked through all the no's. I've gotten there, and now I'm in this airplane. comfortable. I've got my, I'm doing sales training all night long in that thing. I'm getting catered to, excellent food and everything. Talking with people around me is just a great experience. So it's amazing how things can change, right? Very quickly. So we land, and when I get in Dubai, I'm like this celebrity. Everybody seems to know that I had gone through this. I'm the guy that had gotten a passport that shouldn't be here. So I get in a hotel, and there's some people there and some friends. I talk to them. I'm like, "Oh my God, he made it! We know all about the experience." Marion had been updating everybody and the WhatsApp app and all that on what's going on, and Alex on with this challenge that I had, and that Miriam and Alex were so thrilled that I made the effort, even through all of that, to make sure I came to their event. And so they had been letting everybody know. So everyone's like, "Oh, so tell us about the experience." So I told everybody about the experience and everything. So the next day, Miriam's like, "Hey, John, would you mind speaking on stage?" I was like, "I would absolutely love to, Miriam. I appreciate you very much." And her husband is Alex. And Alex, same thing. "We would love to have you, speak on stage." And they said, with that, what we'd also like to do is move you in with our speakers, and so you can eat with them and hang out with them. So they moved me up into the speaker area to hang out and be able to tell my experiences, things like that. But it was so amazing. Miriam and Alex were so accommodating, took care of me, and treated me special throughout this whole process, and really made me feel good. And I was going to give back by speaking on stage. So Dubai, if you don't know about Dubai, it's a wonderful place. The food is fantastic. I don't know. I've been told that they don't put chemicals on the foods, all that stuff is why they're good. I haven't researched it enough, but the food was really fantastic. The city's amazing. Definitely recommend going to Dubai. Completely safe. Um, in the Arab states and all of that, they are more accommodating to tourists, to your cultures, things like that. So it's a great experience. So with Miriam and Alex, so they had me eating the lobster and everything with the speakers, and just taking care of me. And then the next day after that, I got up and spoke on stage. So I gave my speech on there, and it was a great speech. Everybody loved it, and a lot of people came to me and said, "You know what? That really impacted me on the perseverance and the challenges of getting past no." It was really inspiring. And the reason I say this is, on those PPFs that I mentioned earlier, one of my PPFs that I didn't mention to you was to speak on an international stage. And Miriam and Alex gave me that opportunity to speak on an international stage. So I completed all my PPFs, personal, professional, and financial goals that I had set a year earlier there in that one trek to Dubai, So it was fantastic. PPFs make a difference, personal, professional, financial goals. So everything was fantastic. And in the international stage, there were people from all over the world there. So just this whole podcast is about overcoming the no, but actually the power of the no. Okay. No is a very powerful word, and it's actually more powerful than yes, I believe. So if I tell somebody no, it is a very powerful use of that. But if you're on the other side of that no, just understand that no is an opportunity to move in another direction, a better direction. So the power of no, if you let that guide your life, any no is an opportunity. It's not a stopping point. It is only an opportunity. I've never had any no's in my life that were not an opportunity to do something else or do something better in a different way. And the power of no and the opportunities it creates. John, signing out.